And welcome back to Suspicious Minds. Wade, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing, Burl?
Oh, not bad, not bad. And I know you're excited because today we are discussing Elvis and the Beauty Queen, one of your faves, the March 1st, 1981 NBC Sunday night movie.
It was called the NBC Sunday Big Event from 1977 to 1981, rechristened the Sunday night movie just a couple months after this aired. Originally, the Sunday Big Event were made-for-TV movies or semi-recent theatrical films, being broadcast for the first time, but also sometimes sporting events or concerts or whatnot, or, any big show that NBC had. But they realized that Sunday night movie was better, and it was just movies from then on out. And they actually discontinued the NBC Sunday night movie in 2009.
Wow, that was a long run. Well, this one in particular was a made-for-TV movie about Linda Thompson, the beauty queen, played by Stephanie Zimbalist, and Elvis Presley, played by Don Johnson. And it's the story about their love affair, which started in the summer of 1972, when Thompson was about 22 years old, I believe. And it kind of covers their first meeting, and it goes through their several years together, with Thompson basically, living with Elvis and trying to keep him off drugs, these sorts of things, which kind of become a little much for her. And then when they finally break up in like the fall or maybe right before Christmas of 76 is the timeline. Is kind of hard to say, because I think, Elvis, he would leave for a long time and then not call for a long time. So, some of the exact dates might be a little bit off, but I think it's right around the end of 1976 is when they break up. So he just had less than a year to live at that point.
Sure. And it was as much of a relationship as Elvis was having at this point, which was like, you absolutely have to be here and living in Graceland when I want you to be here. And then when I want to go off to Los Angeles and do my own thing, it's like, just basically, get lost for a couple months. So.
Right. And by do his own thing, he means like whoever he wants.
Right.
He's going to be doing a bunch of other people.
Right.
And I think it's interesting to note that their relationship started in the summer of 72, and Elvis was not divorced until I believe it was October 9th of 73.
Yeah.
I mean, they were separated, but the divorce didn't happen for quite some time. So
Sure. Which was a tough pill to swallow for a young, proper Southern lady, which Linda Thompson was, by all accounts, very well liked by the Elvis fold. They all saw her as like, a fun hang, and she took care of business in a flash. And people generally like Linda Thompson.
And plenty of tender love and care, too. I'm sure she had a TLC necklace.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Which makes the existence of this TV movie a little puzzling because, since she was considered such a class act, it seems weird that she would sell her story for a, I don't know, semi-torrid TV movie just a few years later.
I agree. It seems strange that, you would think she would kind of play those cards a little bit closer to the vest, that she wouldn't want to divulge all this information. My thought would be the only reason that she would want the story out is because of Elvis's drug use. And wanting to get that sort of information and get help for people that might be suffering from that. That's really the only reason I could think that she would do it.
Or, a semi-hefty paycheck, I guess.
Money also helps.
Yeah,
also helps.
It always does. You can't hate that. But also, I was surprised to learn that this was not based on a book that she wrote. This is just an original screenplay written for a TV movie. In the credits, Linda Thompson is listed as program consultant, which I'm not 100% sure what that means.
It just means she's getting paid.
Right.
Yeah, so, I'm sure.
Yeah, some sort of like made up title for the credits. I would like to say that if you're going to watch this movie in your own home, there are YouTube uploads of this, and several different channels have it. The one that we used was from Gen X TV Memories, the YouTube channel, which is an excellent YouTube channel, I would like to say, give them my full endorsement. And we watched the version that had all the original commercials and bumpers.
Which I will say, originally I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I watched it, I didn't. I watched one without any of it. And that does clock in about 25 minutes shorter, not watching them.
Right.
Which might have been why I was like, oh, if we're watching The Thing, I'll just watch that. But I will say, going back and rewatching it, knowing that you were watching this version, it was kind of nice to watch it with them in there. Kind of a little intermezzo during the melodrama that sort of was unfolding to get, a nice commercial for soap or some sort of sports car or something was just kind of refreshing. And, a little bit of a time machine of sorts.
Sure. And just like as a general like muscle memory, when those commercial breaks would hit, I'd trot off to the kitchen and get like a sleeve of saltines and like a can of sardines and like some like French's yellow mustard.
Eat like a hobo, like sardines and some mustard.
That's how we did it in the Durbin house back in the day.
You get a big old bite of chaw afterwards
Right.
to kind of clean the palate.
Sure, I keep all this stuff in my bindle, and
right.
But I think a lot to get into with this movie. We should dive right in. Do you want to start with the director?
Let's start with them. I think you know a little bit more about him than I do. You might have done a slightly deeper dive on the director than I did, but it was Gus Triconis.
I'm going to pronounce this as Triconis. If this is incorrect, I don't know who's out there that will correct me on it, but I'd love to hear from you. He actually started his career as an actor and performer. And if you're familiar with the movie West Side Story, he played the character of Indio in a West Side Story. So kind of like an early job for him. But then made a pivot to behind the scenes and just had an unbelievable run of like semi-disreputable like drive-in cinema throughout the late 60s and mid 70s. Really great stuff like Five the Hard Way in 1969. It's like a, William Smith biker revenge film, which I'm not like super familiar with, but, the title is, of course, one that I recognize. He's the guy who directed Swinging Barmaids in 1975, kind of a semi-classic. He did The Evil in 1978. Of course, I'm skipping a bunch. I'm just like hitting the more notable ones. He obviously directed Elvis and the Beauty Queen in 81, but also the same year, he is the director of Take This Job and Shove It, if you're familiar.
There you go. I am familiar enough, yeah.
Yeah, based on the Johnny Paycheck song.
Johnny Paycheck, written by David Allan Coe, though.
That sounds about right. Notable for being the screen debut of a monster truck.
Now, is that the Bigfoot that is out of St. Louis?
Is Bigfoot St. Louis based? If it is, that's awesome.
Bigfoot, I believe, is St. Louis based.
Shout out to St. Louis. I'll have to get my fact checkers on that. That doesn't sound right. But, obviously 81 is the peak of this guy's career. He did a lot of TV episodes like after this. Still alive, still with us as of this taping. Notably, he's married to Goldie Hawn from 1969 and 1976. Brief question for you. Goldie Hawn, did she bang Elvis?
Ooh, you know what? I let's just say sure. He would have been around Hollywood around that time.
She was
like on she was on Laugh-In.
Yeah, Laugh-In, of course. She's in at least 2 of his films as a backup dancer. So they knew each other.
Yeah, they knew each other. They knew each other.
Yeah,
They knew each other.
Yeah, they got together and did the grunt.
Probably.
So kind of interesting. A guy of some renown putting this together, like a real embedded in show business type. Casting Don Johnson as Elvis.
A questionable choice, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would have been my first choice for Elvis. And I will say, and we can get into this in a little bit, but his portrayal is notable for the fact that he does not in any way try and sound like Elvis at all.
Right. There's no imitation.
Zero. Zero. He's just acting kind of like Don Johnson.
Sure. Which, I don't know. I kind of think that's the way to go.
It works as well as it works. But it's the choice he made, and he stuck with it. And was it the right thing? There's a lot of other bad decisions in this movie. And like I say, I don't hate it by any stretch, but it's a made-for-TV movie. So you were kind of meeting it where it's at. And it is very melodramatic and really kind of glosses over a lot of things very quickly.
Don Johnson is one of the things I like about this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the idea was that instead of trying to get like a lookalike or something, they're just like, we need to cast like a super handsome dude that's not a Yankee. Because Don Johnson, born in Flat Creek, Missouri, which, I actually live in Missouri, that's well established. Flat Creek, I looked it up. I don't really see a town named Flat Creek, Missouri. Flat Creek is, the name of like a body of water and like a general region. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily like a town. But regardless, it's about an hour outside of Branson, if that gives you kind of like a context.
Well, maybe he grew up on a boat, like his character Crockett. He played?
Yeah.
Or is he Tubbs? No, he's Sonny Crockett. Yeah.
Sonny Crockett lived on a houseboat.
So maybe that's how he got cast in that. He's just a guy who lived in a boat, like on a creek.
And didn't he have like a pet iguana or something on that show?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do like him in this, although I think some of the decisions that the costume department made for him are like pretty laughable.
Yeah.
Some of his dialogue, because, he's not the main character in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The main character is Linda Thompson.
Right.
And I will say that Stephanie Zimbalist, also a good casting call. I think she did a great job.
Yeah. I actually had to look it up because I mainly know Stephanie Zimbalist, as most people do, through her part of
Remington Steele.
Yeah, on Remington Steele, where she played Laura Holt for 5 seasons. You like that show?
I certainly remember it. I know that would be a thing that I think people our mothers' ages would have really enjoyed that show, mostly because of that Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, my mom was all about Remington Steele, like totally down. I know she listens to the show and she won't be mad about me saying that because it's true.
I think a lot of the ladies of a certain age certainly enjoyed their Pierce Brosnan back in the mid-'80s.
I always thought Pierce Brosnan was a bit of a pencil-necked geek back then.
I understand where you're coming from, but, eventually became James Bond.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have been a mistake to make him Bond in the late 80s.
Yeah, during the Timothy Dalton era.
Yeah, which... Yeah, it's a whole other conversation, but I don't hate Timothy Dalton. I think he did okay. And then later, Pierce Brosnan, I think, he had to kind of age into it a little bit.
Yeah, you want a guy that looks like he's done some living to play that role.
Sure.
Like, you don't want like a 22-year-old guy.
Yeah, some lines in the face. Looks like he's like taken a few shots to the face before,
Yeah, he's been somewhere. He's done stuff.
Anyway, looking up Stephanie Zimbalist, I was like, is she actually, from below the Mason-Dixon line? And it turns out that she isn't. She was born in New York City.
Yeah, I believe her father, also an actor by the name Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
Oh, yeah. So, the name's familiar. What did he do?
Yep. I have no idea, but I just know that he was like an actor. So,
okay.
Yeah, but he was around. He was an actor of some note. Yeah, like I said, I think her portrayal is pretty good. She's pretty easy on the eyes.
Sure.
So, you kind of buy her as a beauty queen. And the thing is, I don't even hate her Southern drawl, which she's obviously affecting.
Yeah.
But, like, she does a pretty good job of it. Doesn't really annoy me too much.
Well, she's just long on the charm in this film. So, she gets away with it. I mean, it's kind of a rough thing to pull off for a lot of people. I think she does a great job. I mean, I've got no problem with the leads in this film.
Agreed. I think the only other notable person that I can think of that's in here is probably John Ashton. He plays the character Jake, but he's in Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's
the mustachioed guy. He's the guy that's not was it Judge Reinhold?
Yeah, he's like Judge Reinhold.
He's the other guy.
Yeah, that's right. It's all coming together for me now.
So that's the only other like really like noteworthy actor. Now there is the guy Rick Lenz who plays the character of David Briggs. Mm-hmm. He does a pretty good job, although he comes off as kind of creepy at the beginning to me.
He kind of comes off creepy the whole thing for me. And we were talking about this earlier. I didn't know anything about the background of David Briggs. I didn't know he was an actual person. I thought he may have been like a composite character or somebody whose name had been changed, but there is actually like a real David Briggs.
There is a real David Briggs, and he was a pretty well-known piano player, composer. He worked in Nashville, that kind of stuff. He did stuff with Dean Martin, Joan Baez, Johnny Cash, B.B. King, Waylon Jennings, Todd Rundgren, Roy Orbison, the Monkees. He's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, so obviously a total pro.
I will say this, the way that he is described by Linda Thompson, they did an interview that he was the antithesis of Elvis. So he, kind of a bearded dude wearing jeans, kind of shabby, a little bit of a paunch to him. But by all accounts, a really nice guy, like in real life. I don't know if the actor gets him right, this Rick Lenz. Like, I don't know if he really nails that. But apparently just a very laid back, easygoing dude. And yeah, she winds up having an affair with him very briefly towards the end of her time with Elvis. So there is truth to that in there.
Yeah, which, once again, I wasn't familiar with this guy before I watched this film. To me, I have in my notes, piano player creep. He's kind of styled like what called to mind for me was like a Joe Flaherty character from like SCTV.
Sure.
Kind of like weird perm and like bug eyes and like wore a lot of vests, just kind of like real pushy. The way I thought this was going to play out, not knowing anything about this guy, he comes on so strong so early on. I thought there was going to be a scene where he like corners Linda Thompson somewhere and like, tries to assault her, and then Elvis intervenes and like gives him a karate chop. And then Linda's like, "Thank you, Elvis, for saving me from that fate, but also your life is too crazy and I have to leave." That's how I thought it was going to go. That's not how it went at all.
Not how it went at all. Elvis just proved to be too crazy for her.
And well, let's talk about the crazy. There are, true to this being, Linda Thompson's story, a lot of very authentic feeling details about Elvis's behavior, corroborated by like a lot of stuff we've read and stuff we've seen in other movies. First and foremost, what really hooked me to this film, it was Elvis's first appearance in the movie when Linda Thompson and a group of other people are meeting up at a Memphis movie theater for one of Elvis's, famous midnight screenings. And so Don Johnson enters the scene and he's wearing, for some reason, like it looks like a stage costume.
It does look like that, yeah.
And
like the Black Beauty,
right,
is kind of what it looks like, yeah.
Complete with the cape. And this is something that's going to like reoccur several times in the movie. Like, I'm pretty sure Elvis didn't lounge around the house wearing like the Aztec sun.
Agreed. And they do that a bunch of times in this, where he's sitting there watching television, like in an Elvis jumpsuit.
Right.
Or just a jumpsuit, I guess, if you're Elvis and you're wearing it. But he's wearing a jumpsuit that would be something he would wear on stage several times. It's really strange. But the thing that gets me is when he shows up, and maybe you're getting to this point, what he's carrying with him.
The tactical flashlight.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like shining it in everyone's face.
Yeah.
Which just tracks. There are pictures of him, I think, with like Glenn Campbell in a couple places, or, these, and also kind of wearing, a black suit with a little bit of a cape to it and gloves. He's got the cigarello, and he's handling the tactical flashlight, which is pretty true to form.
Well,
I think that's just where he was at in the early 70s.
Right. And that's actually on my list of pros about the film. Is this the first cinematic appearance of the flashlight?
For us, it is, because I don't think we've seen anything before that showed him like just screwing around with the flashlight, like flashing in everyone's face. God, how annoying would that be?
Right. Well, you just got to like think of it from Elvis's point of view. It's like, hey, I rented out this movie theater. Like, we got all the lights off. Who's in this place? Let me just shine a light in their faces. Like, I don't give a shit how they feel about it.
Yeah, who's trying to make time with a lady?
Right. So that's a very authentic detail. Also, Elvis's baby talk that he would do to Linda Thompson in the bedroom. All of that stuff felt like very real. Calling her mommy. You know what a lot of this stuff kind of put me in the mind of?
I don't want to guess, but go ahead. Tell me.
It felt like very Blue Velvet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's like, mommy, mommy, take care of baby. Yeah. It's like, it's very, Frank Booth. I loved it.
Yeah, we're one little oxygen mask away from it. Yeah.
Right.
Could very well be based on that. They could have seen this and based that character on that.
Just side note, is that what was supposed to be in Frank Booth's mask, oxygen?
No, I don't think so. I would assume it's like laughing gas or something like that.
Nitrous oxide or something.
Yeah, nitrous. Yeah, same thing, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I guess, right?
Whippets. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what I would think would be in there.
Yeah.
But whenever I think of that, the look of it is I would call it an oxygen mask.
Elvis and the Beauty Queen continues starring Stephanie Zimbalist, Don Johnson, and Ann Dusenberry.
Another thing that you kind of notice is, the stuff with the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out pretty early on, and he's got this bag, this kit bag, and he's just got all the pill bottles in there, and he's taking them all out. And then he does something which also seems very true to form, which in that Sofia Coppola movie, he kind of does the same thing with Priscilla, where he's like, hey, take these. I don't know if in that movie he says that they're aspirin or not, but he's just like, it's just like aspirin or whatever. In this, he's like, it's plain old aspirin. And she takes 2 of them, and literally it's the next day. And she's like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So he obviously gave her sleeping pills.
Right. She's literally, Elvis, what happened?
Exactly. Had fallen asleep in her clothes in the room. And this is, later on when she goes to visit him in Las Vegas after they started dating.
And I actually had this in the pros. This is also, I believe, the screen debut of the kit bag.
Yeah, it was a thing.
At the PDR, the physician's desk reference.
Yeah, he mentions that during that conversation, which is something we know he studied religiously.
Had the thing memorized.
Basically, yeah. He could have been a pharmacist,
He was a very, experienced drug addict and very serious, took it seriously.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that's for sure. Yeah, he definitely knew his stuff when it came to it. Well, I mean, pretty close, because obviously there are a couple times in this where he overdoses. So not as well as he thought he knew it. The one other thing that I know we have talked about, and it was all the guns that he had.
Yes.
There were times where he's just, sitting around with a gun. There's a time where he's watching television with a gun, just holding it. And then they get into an argument. He throws it on the bed or something like that. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a gun case, and I don't know if this was true at Graceland or not, but for their purposes, there was a gun case in the bedroom.
Okay. I would believe that.
But it didn't start off that way. He didn't always have a gun, but then I want to say definitely in the last half, but in the last third of it, pretty much every time you see him after that, I think he's got a gun most of the time in there.
Yeah, which definitely feels authentic. They do touch on the accidental shooting incident in Vegas, kind of famous in Linda Thompson's story, where Elvis is horsing around, showing off with the guys in the next room. And Linda Thompson is in the hotel bathroom and feels something kind of whistle past her knee. And Elvis had fired a round accidentally and went through the wall of the bathroom. Could have seriously
killed her.
Or seriously injured her at the very least. I mean, he's extremely lucky it didn't go worse for him. So, she's very understandably upset about it. Something that he does though at the end of the scene, which I don't think is accurate. He throws the gun in a fit of anger and then it goes off again.
Which I don't know if that actually happened,
right?
But
I don't think guns really do that. I don't think you can throw a gun and it goes off.
And this could be the thing. She might have told the story about maybe he shot it again at her or something, because she's telling him not to do it. And he just pointed it at her again and it went off. But to make it not look like that, because it's obviously a made-for-TV movie, they had him throw it and it went off. But you've got the gun cocked and you throw it, I don't know, How did they make guns back then in the 70s? The inferior quality.
Well, if anybody who's listening to the show knows anything about firearms, just know that me and Burl do not.
Well, it could have been some sort of like hair trigger thing. Who knows?
Right.
But at any rate, that was another thing that I noticed about it, that they really kind of cover the guns and the drugs and those sorts of things, and just those weird details that we know are things that have come up from other sources.
Mm-hmm.
And especially that period of his life in the 70s.
Right.
Wasn't as big of a thing maybe in the 60s and the 50s, but that later era, it was definitely just something that was constantly around in his life. How about you? Any other thing that really struck you as pretty good? I will say this, the other thing that's pretty good about it, the guy that they got to sing the Elvis songs.
Yes.
Don Johnson is playing Elvis, but then when you get on stage, they had somebody else, this guy named Ronnie McDowell, and then he'd sing them. I'm going to say it's not exactly like Elvis, but it's pretty good. He affects a pretty good Elvis singing voice.
Yeah, I had that in my list of pros as well. Ronnie McDowell, who had a fairly legitimate career as an original artist in the country genre back then. But yeah, I will agree that this guy does like an excellent Elvis voice. And it makes me almost think, is it maybe a lost art doing like that good of an Elvis voice?
Well, I think anybody that gets up who has sort of a deeper tenor sort of voice thinks that they can sing like Elvis.
Right.
Right. Because the craft of it, maybe they don't get or whatever, but maybe a little bit of a lost art. And also, I don't know if it's as popular as it would have been back then.
Yeah. The thing with Ronnie McDowell, it seems like singing comes first and then sounding like Elvis comes on top of that, rather than just trying to sound like Elvis. But A+ job, I thought. One more thing about Ronnie McDowell, not only like great Elvis vocals, but there's the scene where Don Johnson is all like wrecked on drugs on Christmas Eve and tries to serenade Linda Thompson with Silent Night, and he's like totally blowing it. So it's also a bit of an acting performance from Ronnie McDowell in the way that he sings it. It's like, can you sing like Elvis totally messed up on pharmaceuticals? And he's like, yes, I could do that too.
Absolutely. Which is like also a talent, maybe a lost talent of like inebriated, whacked out of his mind Elvis singing.
If there was an Elvis impersonator that could sing Elvis in like a slurry, druggy voice and then do shows where he talks a lot about karate, I would like seek that show out.
I would probably go see that now at this point in my life. Yeah. We could make that happen. Mm-hmm. Oh, the other one thing that I was going to say that I think was I put it down as a pro, but only because we know that Elvis, he had kind of the healing hands kind of thing where the spiritualism.
Yeah.
And there's a scene when he is in the hospital and he and Linda like get out of his room and they go find this pregnant woman. And, he's like holding her hand and saying like, you're going to have a healthy baby and everything's going to be fine. And, he signs his name on her bed sheets and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that also tracks as a very Elvis thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, to just very much so.
Be like, let's go find this woman in dire straits at the time, but going through childbirth and just like, yeah, let's have a chat with her and I'm going to make her feel better. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I do.
I do love that scene. I have no doubt that similar scenarios took place. I just don't think that this kind of like whimsical, jovial tone is what he would take like in a room with a pregnant woman. I think he'd get like all weird with her, like talk about like God and Jesus and his healing powers and like clouds and stuff. Like he wouldn't be acting normal at all under those circumstances.
No. But yeah, I think, if we were to move on from that and talk about things that we didn't really care about, once again, I think my biggest thing, and this is what I wrote down, I don't know if you have this, the Memphis Mafia kind of gets the shaft in this. Like, there's really not a lot of Memphis Mafia. There are guys in there that I think are just sort of, I don't think they were really guys in the Memphis Mafia, but was there anybody in that was actually a real person?
They seem to be a lot of like nondescript Memphis Mafia stand-ins.
And so there's none of that. But I think that also sort of tracks with how Elvis was, that he really compartmentalized his life. So when he was with Linda, he was with Linda. And when he is with the guys, he's hanging with the guys.
Mhm.
And kind of the things don't really meet up too much, you know?
Right. Just in the way that I think the mafia was much more involved in like the life of Priscilla than it ever was like his, girlfriends like later in life. I don't think Lamar ever took Linda Thompson out dress shopping.
Probably not.
Very unlikely.
But you never know. You never know. But then also she was like a 22-year-old woman, and Priscilla was like 14 when she moved in.
But in 1972, 22 was like 35 now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Right.
for sure. Yeah.
It's like an
Absolutely.
established person in the world who like knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and she was a beauty queen. I mean, she was in college, right? Like, I don't think she had graduated college, or maybe just graduated college.
Right, kind of closing in on it. It's just weird because, like, it seems that the Memphis Mafia, they're depicted in, some pretty sleazy Elvis movies, which if you're going to portray like a real life person in a film, they have to sign off on it. And you imagine that there's like some sort of financial compensation. So it seems like strange to me that not a single one of them would have taken the money in like 1981.
I think Red or Sonny, any of them, they were on the outs anyway. So they would have probably been okay with a little extra money on the side.
I'm a little bit surprised like Charlie Hodge isn't in the movie playing himself.
Or literally just standing off to the side, handing out scarves.
Right. He got a job on set as like,
Yeah. Yeah. They got the water fountain. He's just standing there like, oh, would you care for some?
Right.
And then he's like pushes the button for you to fill the little cup.
Right. Or
like that's his thing.
He's in the credits as like scarf consultant.
Sure. Yeah.
And that always bums me out. If I'm going to watch an Elvis biography, I want to see Memphis Mafia members like portrayed. It was a huge bummer in the Baz Luhrmann Elvis that we got virtually none of that.
Yeah, it was very little. I think just a couple montage scenes or a montage scene where they're in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Red West doesn't get a single line in an Elvis movie that's like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
It's crazy.
Yep. Well, it's weird in that one. And this, it makes more sense because this is the story of Linda and Elvis.
Right.
Right. That's the story they're kind of trying to tell. So other things I didn't like, there were periods of time or there are times when it's just like so melodramatic. And also when Linda would get mad and then how quickly it would switch back to she's fine.
Right.
Because he's just like, hey, your face isn't made for crying. It's made for smiling. See, there you go. And then that's it. And then like argument over. And I'm going to tell you, and you may or may not agree with me on this. If you ever dated somebody, that doesn't work. That is never, ever going to work.
Yeah, so let me tell you from the front lines.
That does not. That is not how it works, man.
Then again, I'm no Elvis Presley.
I'm just going to say creative script writing.
Yeah,
just like, well, how do we get through this? Because we don't want to actually have like a 30-minute long argument, which is what it would wind up being.
Sure, I got a couple things. I have no idea what a 1981 TV movie budget would have been. I mean, not nothing. Why did all the concert scenes feel like weirdly small and like sparsely attended? There's ways that you can shoot this stuff. Like, obviously, you're not going to have 6,500 extras in a concert venue. I mean, you're just not going to do it like that. But what you could do is use like stock footage of like a lot of people in a concert venue. Every single show that he does feels like it takes place in like a small club with an audience of like 30.
Yeah, like he's doing like a Tuesday night open mic.
Right. And even with the applause sound effect they put in, it sounds like not that many people clapping or like responding to the performance. That's like the easiest thing in the world to dub in like a big crowd sound.
And, to bring that up, I don't remember what the song is at the end, right as they're breaking up, but something that's very odd to me is that he's singing sort of a duet and the backing vocals are a guy. And they're talking about like, we just can't make this work. We've got to go our separate ways or whatever it is. And it's him. And the guy singing the background vocal to it is the bass player. He's like facing him singing it. And it's like, that's a weird choice.
Right. Jerry Schiff never sang anything.
Well, we don't know,
Well,
but
that we know.
not with Elvis.
No.
But he was too busy laying it down on the Fender bass, man.
Right.
No, I just thought that was weird. I figured, like, to get a female, because even had female vocalists there a couple of times that you could see. So it's like, why wouldn't you just have them sing it with Elvis?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just an odd choice.
It is, and I think largely the concert sequences don't work. Except there is one thing that Don Johnson does that I know you love. When he's singing The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, he does that, thumps his chest with the microphone.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Right.
Yeah. Shout out to him for pulling that off.
Right.
Don Johnson really doesn't do a lot of moves. There's no karate that I see him do on stage. They didn't do any karate on stage. Although when they do first meet, he's showing karate movies.
Yes.
So that's good.
And that's one of the things I had that I didn't like about the film is the lack of weird conversations. Because, I mean, Elvis from 72 to 76 would have been talking about karate minimum 5 hours a day.
And then just weird like spiritualism and numerology or something, it's like we know he was into. And like I said, we were talking about it before and I couldn't track down what the book was. There was some book that he would get up and like read on stage to people. But we just know that stuff that he would do. He would just have like people come over and then he would just talk about this stuff like for hours.
Right. Or just like one scene with Elvis with a book about cloud formations that he's like underlined a bunch of stuff and he like confronts Linda with it. And it's like, yeah, you need to read this right now. And, it's like, there's not a single scene like that in this film.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They had to cut some stuff. Although I will say, like, talking about the melodrama, one really kind of funny scene is she's getting very mad at him. They're in Vegas. He gets drugs delivered to him. And she's like, what are you doing? Because she's trying to get him to kick. And he just won't do it. And he storms off, slams a door behind him, and, like, locks it. And she's standing up there crying and, like, screaming the names of different drugs while she's, like, falling to the floor.
Right.
And it's sad because it's true, but to me, for some reason, it gave me a little bit of a chuckle.
What you got now? None of your damn business, woman.
None of my business, huh? You're killing yourself! Benzedrine, Dexedrine, Demerol, Setanol, Nibutol! Are you listening to me? Placidil, Elavil, Praluent, and Valium, Regalim, is all that really necessary?
Well, it's something that you can like point out it as a fault, but ultimately something that's in my pro column. The early 80s TV movie vibes of this are like really hard to beat.
Yeah, I get that. Like I said, I don't think it's great by any stretch, but it is exactly what you expect to get from a Sunday night made-for-TV movie.
Like if you can watch this movie and squint, you can picture like the wood paneling in your house and everything smells like cigarettes. And it's like you should be working on a project that's due tomorrow in school and you're just totally blowing it off.
Oh, man. So what would you rate this? Like, we don't have to do a Memphis Mafia rating, but like 1 to 10. Let's just do like a 1 to 10 rating. What would you give this?
It's hard for me to be completely objective about this because the version I watched was the original broadcast with the commercials, and it just evoked this whole vibe that is not supported by the film alone. So I give this a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a really good time, a fun hang. I watched it several times in preparation for this episode, and we'll probably watch it again.
I'll take that. And I agree because I watched it the first time without the commercials. I'm going to tell you this. It's a real slog. Like, it is really tough to get through watching it. And then rewatching with the commercials, you get these, like I said, these little like palate cleansers, this little like, sorbet, intermezzo kind of thing. And to go and see like, oh, it's like Yamaha motorcycles and Dial soap and Preparation H commercials and all this stuff in there that are just so goofy in the jingles and everything. And then you go right back into, well, Elvis is in the hospital and he's making out with the nurse. And guess what? Linda walks in and she's not happy. I agree. I think without it, it is like a 5. And then with it, I would give it about 6.5, 7 for sure. Yeah.
I actually had a short list of my favorite TV movie music biopics.
Okay. Yeah. Lay it on us. What do you got?
Which I just gathered 5 in no particular order, I should say. But I believe these all aired in my home as original broadcasts. So just saying, we watched a lot of TV growing up. I have on my short list Dead Man's Curve from 1978, the Jan and Dean story.
Yeah, Jan and Dean.
Yeah. Like a phenomenally depressing true story of Jan and Dean's life. If you know anything about like that jazz, go ahead and watch it. It's all on YouTube. Also have number 2, Summer Dreams from 1990. Now I know you know this one.
Which one is that?
This is the Beach Boys story.
Oh, that's the I Have Cocaine and Cheeseburgers.
Yes,
is it that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was based on the Heroes and Villains book about Beach Boys, which is a phenomenal book. Couldn't recommend it more highly. A great TV movie, really centered around Dennis Wilson. He's like the main character. Kind of strange. Charles Manson is a character in this movie. It's so good. And then all the Beach Boys, when they're supposed to be teenagers, they're all being played by guys that are in their like mid-30s or older, which you got to love that. Also, number 3, The Karen Carpenter Story from 1989. Like a CBS movie of the week. Pretty fantastically depressing true story about that. Number 4, which should really be number 1, John Carpenter's Elvis from 1979. Probably not only the best TV movie music biopic, but maybe one of the best TV movies of all time. I mean, for my money, like you tell me, I have no idea.
It's pretty good. Like the production quality is like way better than this.
Of course, and obviously the star power of Kurt Russell.
Yeah, a little bit more too. Right. Yeah, as well.
Oh, and as a special mention, I have Hysteria, the Def Leppard story.
Ooh,
made for
I remember that one.
Yeah, made for VH1 in 2001, which has the incredible scene of Rick Allen immediately post car accident. He's missing an arm, but he's holding the arm with the other arm, and he's walking up a hill, and he's telling people, "I'm a famous drummer."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And and that also has one of those quintessential scenes where, like, a character says, "Times are changing," and then somebody else says, "We got to change with it."
It happens all the time.
Right.
I actually said that right before we started rolling on this.
Yeah.
And I meant it. I meant every bit of that.
And also a special mention, that movie features Anthony Michael Hall as Mutt Lange.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Wow. That's nuts.
Yeah, well, the thing is, nobody knows what Mutt Lange looks like.
I certainly don't.
Yeah, surf the web, try and find a photo.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to do. Only Shania Twain can tell you for sure.
Yeah. And she ain't talking.
No, she won't. She won't discuss it at all. She's sworn to secrecy. She's got an NDA. Well, wait, I think that kind of ramps it up for Elvis and the Beauty Queen. Mm-hmm. So we're going to move on to our segments. But before we do, we have a new sponsor, which is Chris Cleanse.
If you or a loved one are feeling out of control, lost, struggling with low self-esteem, depression, anger, poor appetite, emotional pain, or existential ennui, you might own a copy of the Peter Criss solo album. Fortunately, help is just a phone call away. Chris Cleanse offers you to experience our life-transporting album removal therapy program, developed by the Webstone Corporation of West Akron. As one of the first album removal services in the world, our licensed clinical staff can help you mediate your emotional or mental struggle by eliminating all traces of the Peter Criss solo album from your home. Our team of experts can help you replace this album with a personalized selection of 70s rock mainstays. Choose between Deep Purple's Machine Head, ZZ Top's Tres Hombres, Cheap Trick live at Budokan, or at the very least, the Ace Frehley solo album.
Or the Gene Simmons solo album.
Not helping, Burl. So don't wait. Start your path to long-term happiness and stability today. Call Chris Cleanse. That's 1-800-999-9999. That's 1-800, and just keep dialing 9. Chris Cleanse, because you matter to us.
Man, I tell you what, I think we're both in need of that service.
I actually don't own that album.
That's probably good. Well, I know what to get you for Christmas.
Though 1 year in my Spotify Wrapped, it was in my top 5 things I listened to.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oof. Maybe don't ever discuss that again.
Yeah. You could probably cut that whole bit.
Well, oh, man. So that's pretty awesome.
Right.
So that takes us to, I think, everybody's favorite segment, which is the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine. Tonight, we're taking it all the way back to Sunday, March 1st, 1981. First thing I'd like to talk about is just the TV schedule from all the 3 networks that night. Really exceptional stuff going on. Of course, Elvis and the Beauty Queen was on NBC, which actually started at 8 p.m. Central Time, which is, where I would have seen it. I know you're crazy East Coast time. It's like an hour later. But at 7 p.m., the opening show that evening was Chips. And the episode Ponch's Angels is what it's called, which I don't know which one that was, but, Pat from Elvis Book Club, I'm sure he could tell us all about it. So Chips followed by Elvis and the Beauty Queen for the Sunday big event. On ABC, they were doing the ABC Sunday night movie, which was Miracle on Ice, which is a TV movie about the U.S. upset of the Soviet hockey team, that kind of famous Olympic story. Stars Andrew Stevens and Steve Guttenberg. Yeah, I've never seen that one, but it sounds good. I'd love to watch it. And on CBS, 7 p.m. that night, kind of a heavy hitter, it was the network TV debut of the Amityville Horror.
Oh, wow.
For the CBS Sunday movie. And can I do a little thing for this?
Yeah, please.
Sure. Tonight's film deals with the supernatural as a possessed man attempts to destroy his family. Although edited for television, it may not be suitable for young viewers. Parental discretion is advised.
Ooh.
Yeah. Doesn't that just kind of like spark something?
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah, deep within you.
Yep.
This was followed by The Jeffersons, which was an episode called I Buy the Songs, in which George hires a songwriter to write a Valentine's Day song for Wheezy, and he passes it off as its own. So, wackiness ensues. But what a night of TV. I can guarantee you in our household, we had it parked on Elvis and the Beauty Queen. I can't imagine like we were watching anything else, but I think all 3 of these would work.
Yeah, I mean, any of those would be a great night of television watching.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
And really, what great bumper graphics they used to have in 1981. Like the Starfield with like lasers shooting you in the face.
Oh,
and then they're like announcing for the Sunday big event, Elvis and the Beauty Queen. I mean, I don't know, just like, gets the blood pumping. Or if you didn't want to stay at home and watch TV that night, you could have gone to the theaters to see any of the following films, which were in current release. You had Death Hunt, that joint with Lee Marvin and Charles Bronson. Lee Marvin is the Mountie. And his partner is Andrew Stevens. Weird. And they're hunting down fur trapper Charles Bronson, who's accused of a crime he didn't commit. Or maybe he did commit it. I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, maybe it's what we talk about next time. We'll watch that and we'll let people know.
We'll do a special episode where we just talk about Death Hunt with special guest Eric Voss.
There you go.
Yeah.
Man, I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm pro.
Also in theaters, you could have seen Scanners, if you can believe it. Paul Newman and Fort Apache, The Bronx. Fear No Evil, if you know that one. I think it's like a possessed kid on a campus and just like a banging ass soundtrack. I could be wrong, though I think that's the movie. Blood Beach was in release, which is kind of a reverse of Jaws, where like the water was safe, but if you're on the sand, there was something pulling people underneath the sand.
Okay.
I've seen this movie several times. It's absolutely terrible. And it's got Burt Young in it. He's the star.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty great. The Incredible Shrinking Woman was in theaters at the time with Lily Tomlin, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Directed by Joel Schumacher.
Weird.
Ain't that crazy?
That is crazy.
My Bloody Valentine was still in a release. The Canadian horror film about the crazy miner, in the mines with the pickaxe, like killing people. Kind of like a low-key classic of the slasher genre. Also, Ralph Bakshi's American Pop was in theaters this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Bocce.
Yeah. I mean, that one kind of sucks, like all of them, but still pretty rad.
Something rotoscope,
Right.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And also, Eyewitness was in theaters, which is one I wasn't familiar with, but there's actually a trailer for it in the original broadcast for this airing of the TV movie. And it stars William Hurt and Sigourney Weaver and Christopher Plummer. It's like a murder mystery thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that commercial now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, not gonna lie, it looks good as hell.
Yeah, not bad.
And also, notably, this movie was just 1 month out from This Is Elvis being released to theaters.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of content, Elvis content happening right then.
There was.
Even just because this is 81, so he died, 4 years before?
Right. Yeah. And then just a couple months out from Escape from New York being released to theaters. Once again, we got that connection. You got Kurt Russell played Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Russell's film debut was in an Elvis movie. Kurt Russell has had a long-term relationship with Goldie Hawn,
who may or may not have slept with Elvis.
Who may or may not have slept with Elvis. And she was married to the guy who directed Elvis and the Beauty Queen, Gus Triconis. And it's just like weird, incestuous showbiz bullshit.
That's Hollywood for you, man.
It is.
Hollywood
everybody's banging everybody else. So yeah, that's movies. A lot of good stuff happening. Music, instead of just reading the charts like I normally do, I'm just going to go through the number one hits of that year just up to March. And it's only a few songs, just like absolute all-time bangers that everybody still listens to regularly now. So your mileage may vary. As the year rang in, it was John Lennon's Just Like Starting Over was the biggest song in America, which, I don't know, you get kind of like the commemorative sympathy chart listing thing for that. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe that's unfair. Not really his best work, I think. But taking the number one spot from that was Blondie's The Tide is High.
Yeah.
From Auto American. It's, pretty great song there. Number one hit right after that, into February, is Kool and the Gang's Celebration.
That's a rock. That still is up there, man.
Every
That's a great
wedding
song.
reception you've ever been to has played this, and always will.
That always will. Yeah, for sure.
And then, taking the top spot from that, Dolly Parton's 9 to 5.
Wow. Written on her nails. Have you ever heard the story about that?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
The rhythm that's in that she was rubbing her nails together to make that noise and like came up with the lyrics. That's how she wrote it.
Just kind of brief aside, I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and there's this figure in the local music scene. He's a typewriter Tim, and he plays like a lot of noise shows where he uses a typewriter as like, a percussion instrument. And one time there's a Dolly Parton tribute night at a local venue. And, of course, one of the performers was doing 9 to 5, and they had a typewriter Tim on stage doing the typewriter sounds. And I'm like, this is your night to shine, buddy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like pretty much the one thing. I think there's one other song like written for the typewriter.
Sure. It's all led to this. So anyway, and then taking the top spot away from Dolly was Eddie Rabbitt's I Love a Rainy Night.
Man,
which
that's great.
Longtime listeners of the show will know that I'm a huge Eddie Rabbit guy. So I'm very pleased to see him popping up.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the Wayback Machine.
There we go.
From Sunday, March 1st, 1981.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's the Wayback Machine. That leads us to your favorite thing that happens on the show, which is Would You Believe?
I'm never ready for this.
Nobody is.
Right.
Wade, I'm barely ready for it.
Right.
All right. So, Would You Believe? And he's come up a couple times. on the show already. But Don Johnson, man about Hollywood, had a lot of friends. One of his friends was none other than Kurt Russell. And when he got cast to play Elvis, he called up Kurt Russell to ask him for advice on how to play the part. Would you believe?
I mean, it sounds believable, but they always do. I'm going to say no, because I don't think like super handsome guys like hang out.
Okay, you're right. That is false, but they are friends. So technically it could have happened.
Yeah. All right.
So there you go. Would you believe? All right. Also, keeping with this whole vibe, talking about Kurt Russell. So singer Ronnie McDowell, who recorded the vocals for all the Elvis songs in Elvis and the Beauty Queen, apparently there's only one guy that kind of sounds like Elvis working in the U.S. And the Ronnie McDowell also did all the singing for the 1979 Elvis starring Kurt Russell. Would you believe?
Yes, I would believe that.
You are correct. That is true.
All right. I'm on a roll.
Man, you are correct. All right. So going back to the John Johnson thing, would you believe that on Miami Vice, that Don Johnson, he had a pet that was a drug-sniffing alligator, and that its name was Elvis? Would you believe?
Yes, because I watched that show a lot.
Yeah, I kind of figured you'd get that one, but it was just such a great thing that I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, and just briefly, how rad was Miami Vice? I mean, what a fantastic show that was.
That first, couple seasons, the first season or two were amazing.
Yeah.
I think it kind of went off the rails after that.
Yeah, I'll agree. That's the only, run of the show that I, watch consistently. I the final season, I'm sure I'd seen, 0 episodes.
Yeah. So, would you believe that for the role of Elvis, someone who was up for the part was none other than Rick Springfield, who had to turn it down because his tour was extended after the success of the song Jesse's Girl? Would you believe?
I'm going to say no, and here's why. First of all, not a great physical match for Elvis. Second of all, he would have insisted on doing his own singing because he is a singer, and Rick Springfield doesn't sound anything like Elvis. Okay. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. And that is true. Or, I mean, it was a false. So, yeah, you got it. All right. So, all right. Yeah, right, you got it. And keeping with the Rick Springfield, would you believe that Rick Springfield, he had a manager at one point who was the director of the 68 comeback special? True or false?
Man, I'm going to say false because I didn't know that guy did any management.
Nope, that's true. It's Steve Binder was Springfield's manager and the director of the 1968 comeback special.
Also directed the Star Wars Christmas special or holiday special, I should.
There you go. So some big whiffs on his. No, he's got some. Everybody's got a stinky do every once in a while. So
not everything can be Cracker Jack.
Yeah, right.
I'll go to bat for the Star Wars holiday special. I don't give a shit.
Okay. All right. Would you believe that actress Stephanie Zimbalist was cast in the role of Anne Lewis in RoboCop, but had to give up the role to Nancy Allen when Remington Steele was picked up for another season? Would you believe?
I mean, it sounds plausible, but she is such a different presence than Nancy Allen is. And if the casting director was going for a specific type, I don't really see very much crossover between those two actors. So I'm going to say that's false.
No, that is true.
Wild.
Yeah, pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Neither do I, but who knows why it worked out that way.
Which, all right. Yeah, I hate for Stephanie Zimbalist to lose a opportunity or something, but Nancy.
Hey, she was making that TV money. I mean, she got to go work with Pierce Brosnan every day.
Right.
How bad could it have been?
And Nancy Allen was so great in that film.
Here's the thing: it worked out the way it was going to work out. It worked out for the best. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So, couple more here for you because I know you love doing these.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine with it as long as I'm doing okay. Right. I'm in the plus column tonight.
Yeah, there you go. That's great. All right. So would you believe that Stephanie Zimbalist met the actor Kevin Conroy at Juilliard, and the two would later work together on Batman, the animated series? Would you believe?
I'm going to believe this because that sounds right.
Yeah, that's true. And her dad, Ephraim, also did voices for Batman, the animated series. So they worked together.
Wild. Who did he do?
So Stephanie played the character of Janet Van Dorn, and her dad was Alfred.
Man, that's so rad. What a good gig. Like the voice of Alfred on like the definitive Batman animated series.
Yeah, very cool, right? Very cool. And then finally, so we all know, Wade, that Elvis, bit of a prankster.
Sure.
And Linda also has shared a lot of the same sensibilities as Elvis. That's part of the reason they were hanging out. And she also liked pulling some pranks. And one of the biggest pranks they liked to pull was that the two of them loved to show up to parties and they would black out their teeth to crack everybody up. Would you believe?
Yes, I would. That sounds like some shit Elvis would do.
Yeah, it absolutely is true. Yeah, that's stuff they would do. All right, man, you did great. Like you only missed like 2 this time.
Yeah.
So I'm losing my edge.
No, I don't know. Maybe I've just like figured your shit out.
Well, I'm going to have AI write them from now on. So now you can deal with that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Bold new future we're marching towards. Just briefly, you're talking about Elvis like attending like Hollywood parties, in the movie. Did he do much of that?
That I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he hosted and or went to parties from time to time. I have a feeling he would make like an appearance, find somebody he wanted to sleep with, and then go up and do a bunch of drugs. Like take them back to his place, to like their room where they just probably do a bunch of like sleeping pills.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I need to read more on the subject, but it sounds like a Hollywood party is like the last thing he would want to do. I mean, certainly have people to his house, but not like somebody else's mansion and I'm just like working the room, which is a scene in this movie I noticed from Dawn of the Dead, Kin 4E, as kind of a Muhammad Ali stand-in. If you remember from Dawn of the Dead, he's the SWAT team guy, the like level-headed one who like survives.
Yeah. Oh, that's him? Okay, I guess I didn't put the two together. Yeah.
Good gig. Oh, well, I mean, it's just like a single scene, but he's obviously supposed to be Muhammad Ali in that scene. There's a guy that I think is supposed to be like a Sinatra stand-in.
Yeah, something.
Kind of like vaguely threatening,
like a mob guy who probably like runs the hotel. Who knows? Right. I don't know.
There's one guy I thought he was supposed to be like Jackie Mason, but it's like, no, it's just like some bit player doing a very broad performance of like a showbiz type. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up the Would You Believes, Wade. But I think since we talked so much about the commercials that we both enjoyed so much, that I think we should take some time to honor them and maybe to discuss like, what our favorite one would be.
From KNBC, Los Angeles, airing on March 1st, 1981, this is the Best Commercial Award.
Wade, before we had algorithms tracking our every move, we had jingles. Catchy, unforgettable, and sometimes, let's be honest, a little weird.
But vintage commercials didn't just sell Colgate or Yamahas. They captured the hopes, values, and hairstyles of their time.
They told stories in bold fonts and brighter colors. They gave us slogans we still quote today, even if we're not totally sure what they meant.
Tonight, we're honoring the classics. The ads from March 1st, 1981 that stuck with us for decades, shaped culture, and maybe even sold a few Datsuns along the way.
Here are the nominees for Best Commercial of March 1st, 1981.
All right. First up, we have Mobile Super Unleaded, featuring Rodney Dangerfield, which I thought was interesting because at first I thought Rodney Dangerfield was doing the voice of a sentient gas tank because they open the gas cap and you hear his voice come out. But it actually turns out he's a sentient tank of gas, like the gasoline itself is talking in Rodney Dangerfield's voice. I watched this very late at night and it tripped me out.
And I'm sure somebody was tripping when they wrote it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also nominated, Yamaha, presenting the Midnight Maxim, which seemed to be like a pretty cool looking motorcycle.
Yeah, it's definitely cooler looking than the other motorcycle because it kind of pulls up next to like an older motorcycle.
Sure.
And then the guy's like envious of the motorcycle.
Right, right. The commercial's like, look at this nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
But great cinematography, shot on film, looks fantastic.
Yeah, looks very good.
Got kind of some Fonzie shit going on in there.
Yeah, it's a good looking one.
Very good.
Yeah.
Our next nominee is the Sizzler with the $2.99 burger meal.
I mean, just those prices and that meal, and I believe you get a drink with that.
Right, right. It's a burger cooked to your liking, French fries, which look like the big steak fries. I don't know. I didn't go to Sizzler a lot. I assumed they did like big steak fries.
Probably at that time you could choose to sit in the smoking section if you wanted to.
Sure. Undoubtedly, it came with the beverage of your choice, which they show in the commercial, a glass of iced tea or a cup of coffee. And is there anything more old man than going to a Sizzler and getting like a cup of hot coffee with like a burger and fries?
I can't think of a thing.
Right.
Yeah, can't think of a thing.
And also unlimited access to the salad bar.
I'd love to go back to those simpler times.
All for $2.99. It really captures the imagination, this one.
Absolutely.
Okay. Our next nominee is a ad from the Milk Council.
This one's baffling.
It's really weird, but just like oddly compelling because it shows this attractive young couple on a lake in a canoe and they're fishing and they reach into the cooler for a refreshment and they pull out a jug of whole milk, which they pour into beer mugs.
Ice cold beer mugs.
Ice cold beer mugs. And I'm just going to like wager a bet. Nobody in the history of the world has ever done this. Not
grown-ups.
No.
There's no way you're doing that. And then the things that they want to pair it with, it's like cheese and apples and burgers or something like that. That's what they're pairing milk with.
Right.
And I think over the age of about 6, that all sounds horrible. Like, why would I want cheese and a glass of milk to wash it down with?
Yeah.
It's baffling.
I don't think milk is really like a great thing to be drinking on a regular basis. Though, of course, the science could flip-flop on that, in the next like 10 or 15 years and we'd be sounding like idiots. But anyway, a compelling commercial. Our next nominee, a NBC bumper for a night of programming, which includes Real People, if you remember that, with Skip Stevenson and Sarah Purcell and Fred Willard. And on that particular episode, they're covering a drag show as something kind of like fun and wild to participate in, how times have changed, followed by an episode of Different Strokes, then Facts of Life, and then ending the evening with Quincy.
Yeah, that episode looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, one of my all-time favorites. That's going to be hard to beat. Our next nominee, a Ford commercial hosted by Robert Stack.
Yeah, it's compelling. Like, you want to buy a car when Robert Stack comes out and tells you should do it.
But it's like weirdly nationalistic and kind of authoritarian. It should be noted that Reagan was inaugurated in January of 81. So already by March of 81, there was this vaguely dystopian, grim, forced patriotism that was happening. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, plus the American car market was totally tanked at this point. Yeah. They were still trying to get rid of all those gas guzzlers.
Right.
Oil embargoes and stuff.
Basically, Robert Stack is like, buy a Ford, you piece of shit.
Yeah. Yep. That's how I'd read it.
Right. Trying to intimidate us into it. And our last nominee was for Preparation H.
The thing is, he couldn't figure out what he wanted, so he took the ointment and the suppository.
He did.
Proudly.
And it's the sort of commercial that they haven't made in decades, where it's this kind of like slice of life, 2 actors like interacting about a product, not pitching to the camera at all, just having a conversation.
Right. Just 2 guys talk about stuff. And the product worked because in the second part of it, he's seated.
It works. But
Yeah, so it seems to work like a charm.
yeah, it's something we see in a lot of these commercials, these kind of like vignettes, these short scenes. Everybody's wearing flannel. There's a lot of like foliage going on, kind of like golden sunlight trickling through windows and plaintive music playing. It's definitely a different time. Yeah, let's get to tonight's winner of the best commercial of March 1st, 1981. The envelope, please. Why do they make these so damn hard to open?
I don't know. I don't know. Every year we do this.
Yeah. The winner for me is going to be the Mobile Super Unleaded with Rodney Dangerfield speaking as sentient gasoline.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Great choice.
Just super weird. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Plus, it's Rodney Dangerfield. Well, I think we would have really missed something if we had not discussed that and made an award. It really elevated the watching experience.
It really did. And if you've listened this long, you know, you're obviously like interested in this sort of thing. There were 42 commercials during this TV movie. I mean, that's a lot.
Way too many. That's a ton.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But that's also like a rhythm of viewing something that like people just don't have anymore. And back when this originally aired, that's when you did your bathroom breaks. Because, you know, a VCR in the home was definitely rare by 81. So you just had to watch this as it aired. And who knows if it was ever rerun again. I mean, maybe in the summer or something.
I did not see anything about that, whether or not it reran.
And I tell you, I believe that commercial breaks were engineered with the microwave food industry, which was like definitely microwaves were like becoming much more common by 81. That we need to build snacks around what could be realistically reheated during a commercial break.
Not a bad theory. I could definitely go with that. I think that could definitely be what the deal is.
Like bag of microwave popcorn is what, approximately 2.5, 3 minutes?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
maybe 5 minutes tops.
Yeah, I never touched the stuff, so I wouldn't know. And that's like your standard commercial break. I think we're breaking this whole thing wide open.
We were really getting to the bottom of it.
Right.
But that might be for the next show. Maybe we come back, we'd do some digging. But we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because I think we've talked about it for a little bit. Before we get out of here, a couple of things we want to mention. One thing I'm going to say is, you know, you should check out our good friends at the Elvis Book Club with Pat and Brad. They're doing really good work. They put out some new episodes recently, so you definitely go and check them out. If you need to get in touch with us for whatever reason, you can always email us at suspiciousmindspodcast77@gmail.com, or you can reach out to the Suspicious Minds hotline at 773-389-4276. And then where can they check us out on the social media, Wade?
Well, come follow us on Instagram at Suspicious Minds Podcast. That's just one word all stuck together. Lots of Elvis photos, Elvis facts. You throw together some memes that are pretty funny and everybody loves them. There's original artwork from my brother, Shan. He's got a TikTok. Fantastic stuff. And come check us out on Facebook at Suspicious Minds Podcast with Wade and Burl. We do a lot of fun stuff over there. We would love to see a little more action going on the Facebook page, but it's neither here nor there. You know, we should get another one going. Blue Sky, Threads. What's a good one these days?
I don't even know. Yeah, Blue Sky. Let's do that for next time.
Yeah, Blue Sky. Let's get that together when we launch this season.
You got it.
Yeah.
And this actually is the season finale for us. So this is the last one of the season. But I think what we're going to do, instead of doing them in seasons from now on, we're just going to, when we record, we're just going to release them.
Right.
Because why keep you waiting? Or why keep us waiting?
Right.
So that's kind of how we're going to handle it in the future.
When we start dropping episodes, some of them are like pretty darn old at this point.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's why we got to start doing it the other way.
Right.
But I think that's about it, unless you got anything else.
Yeah, just give myself a brief plug. Every Wednesday night on Kick, that's kick.com, Kick. I have a channel called Wade's Movie Bag. And yeah, every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, we show cult movies, rarely anything about Elvis, but the chat is pretty lively and it's a good time there. And then the last Tuesday of every month, I'm at the Headless Bat in St. Louis, Missouri, where I host a in-person version of Wade's Movie Bag. We watch specially selected cult films and drink a lot of draft beer, and they serve pizza, which is excellent. And it's a heavy metal themed bar, so there's a lot of crazy crap on the walls, and everybody who works there is all tatted up. It's a good time. Everyone enjoys it. So yeah, just check out the Wade's Movie Bag on Kick, on Instagram, on Facebook. You'll find us all kind of places.
Awesome. Well, cool. I should check that out.
You should.
I was unaware. This is like you've had this whole secret life you haven't told me about.
Yeah.
It's like finding out you have a whole other family.
It's my whole deal.
I'm kidding. Of course I know about it. I want to thank all the listeners for checking us out over the years and, through the season. And we'll put together some more episodes soon, and we'll catch up with you then. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out and being super cool and doing all the things you guys do to keep this show alive.
Absolutely. All right. As always, I have been Burl.
And I'm always Wade.
And we'll catch you next time.
Keep taking care of business.
Thank you. Good night.
Announcing me. New mobile super unleaded gasoline. Why, I got higher octane. I mean, I fight knocks. I fight pings. I tell you, I'm so great, I'm also replacing Mobile Premium.
Hey, baby, what's happening in the car world?
Oh, Mobile. They have a new super unleaded gasoline.